Sometimes it's pretty easy to get your thoughts out about a game or pretty much anything. Other times you're just given something you're not quite sure what to really say about, and that needs to add up to an interesting video. And today we have something like that. A title in a long-running series that I'm not quite sure even has fans, the Ninja Kun / Ninja Jajamaru series. If you remember back in 1985, Jaleco published a little game called Ninja Kun Maju no Boken, an arcade port that Jaleco originally had no involvement with, getting the rights from developer UPL. And in my opinion, it was the first capital B bad game for the Famicom. Bad controls, ear-bleeding music, and a bunch of other problems that made it one of the easiest games to avoid. And yet, Jaleco felt the need to continue with the concept and essentially create their own OC to the series with Ninja Jajamaru. Or if you want a more cynical take, how to continue the series without having to pay any rights. Bringing back Tosei, who ported the original Ninja Kun to the console, Jajamaru was definitely the better game of the two, but was still rather lackluster in the design and coding department. Based on these two games alone, the Ninja Kun series is one of the most ho-hum series in gaming, which is why I'm honestly kind of struggling to find anything captivating to say about today's game, Jajamaru no Daibouken, translating of course to Jajamaru's Great Adventure. If you count the original Ninja Kun as part of the series, that's a whopping 3 games on the Famicom so far, making it the second series with the most titles on the Famicom, only behind Donkey Kong. And it's a weird legacy because I honestly believe no one really cares about any of these games, because once again we have yet another lackluster game that definitely could have been coded better, brought to you, once again, by Famicom cliché Tosei. However, instead of going the arcade route again, Jajamaru enters the expanding world of side-scrolling platformers, hopping on the Super Mario Bros. Bandwagon. So if we take into account both Jajamaru games, we definitely have a Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. Situation going on here. It's interesting to see how the original Mario Bros. Influenced and evolved into the eventual Super Mario Bros. How elements like the pipes, fireballs, coins, and a concept of a turtle enemy eventually found themselves in the bigger, upgraded quote-unquote sequel. I really wish I could say the same regarding the evolution between both Jajamaru games, but for the case of Jajamaru no Daibouken, it's basically Tosei turning the original action arcade game into a side-scrolling platformer because pretty much everything from the first game returns here. Your weapon is an endless supply of shuriken. You don't just die simply by touching enemies, you sort of ricochet back. There's a block you can break that have items like a coin, a potion turning you invisible, and even a bomb that kills you on contact. Defeating enemies lets you collect their soul. The boss fights are pretty much a recreation of the bonus stages from the first game where you fought the main bad guy, Namazu Dayu, who once again returns for this game. And even the frog Gamma Pug-kun will show up acting as an unstoppable force for Jajamaru to ride. Major seizure warning. Click away from this video until I tell you it's okay. Alright, you can look now. Hey, I can see where Nintendo got the inspiration for the Mega Mushroom sections in New Super Mario Bros. I also noticed that all the music is reused from the second game, just with some extra backing instrumentals, and that Jajamaru's sprite is actually reused from the last 2 games, even doing that weird shrug look when he's stationary. Me personally, I love it when I can examine how a game evolves sequel to sequel, adding the gameplay elements to make them better or having a certain style to help them stand out. Which is why I'm overall just bored when talking about Jajamaru no Daibouken, although I guess it is pretty interesting seeing just how much was recycled for this game, which just gives off this aura of, who cares, which honestly shocks me that Jaleco turned this into a franchise. I can't find any data on sales or review scores, so I can't tell you if anyone really loved Jajamaru, but my honest theory on why Jaleco kept making these games is that, well, Japanese boys really like to have play fantasies as ninjas, so give them a series of games of a little ninja boy and at least one kid will get something out of it. At the very least, I will end this video off saying I do think this is the best Jajamaru game so far. Tosei at least made controlling Jaja much more fluid, and the levels all have an interesting backdrop to them. At the very least, they dropped the blackface enemy from the first game, and instead have a nice big cast of adversaries to face. If a kid had this game in 1986, I don't necessarily think it would have been a bad purchase compared to other games I slammed. And to give credit to Jaleco, they did slow down on these Jajamaru games. The next one wouldn't be until 1989, so thankfully they're giving the series time to actually develop and see an actual reception, rather than just rushing them out the door. Jajamaru no Daibouken. You definitely exist.